Now, that leads to one more topic that I want to get to. I was on WQAM in Miami this morning with Zach Krantz, Joe Rose, who's hosted that show for years, and I've been on that show every Friday morning for years. Joe was off. Zach and I were talking about the Rodgers situation, and he raised the question of how many teams would Rodgers make into Super Bowl contenders immediately if the trade happened right now, regardless of who they currently have. And obviously, there are a lot of teams that already are Super Bowl contenders without Aaron Rodgers. Or, yes, they're already, like the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are a Super Bowl contender with Josh Allen. If for some reason the Bills would decide to trade for Aaron Rodgers, which they would never do because they have Josh Allen, they're still a Super Bowl contender. So what I've done is I've gone through team by team. And I'm curious about the teams that currently aren't, in my mind, based upon their present quarterback situation, true Super Bowl contenders. Does Rodgers make them into contenders, yes or no? Now, before I get to that, here are the teams that I think are contenders with or without Aaron Rodgers. Super Bowl contenders with or without Rodgers on the team. The Bills, the Patriots, and yes, I believe the Patriots are Super Bowl contenders, given the upgrades they've made this offseason and the presence of Bill Belichick as the head coach. The Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens, the Titans, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Chargers in the AFC. Those are the teams that I think are Super Bowl contenders with or without Aaron Rodgers. In the NFC, the Cowboys, and even though I think Washington's going to win the division, I think if it works for the Cowboys, they're more likely to be a Super Bowl contender, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to say the Cowboys, the only Super Bowl contender out of the NFC East for now, even though I think Washington wins the division. The Buccaneers, the Saints, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. Those are all the teams that are Super Bowl contenders. If for some reason they would decide, hey, let's go ahead and get Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers will trade him. Now, here are the teams that become contenders for the Super Bowl, who I currently think aren't. You put in Aaron Rodgers, and they're contenders. The Dolphins become Super Bowl contenders. They currently aren't. The Raiders become Super Bowl contenders. In my mind, they currently aren't. The Broncos become Super Bowl contenders. In my mind, they currently aren't. Washington becomes a Super Bowl contender. In my mind, even though I think they're going to win the division, I don't think they're going to have enough to punch through to the Super Bowl. The Vikings become Super Bowl contenders. In my mind, they currently aren't. The Bears, they're not going to do it, but they would become Super Bowl contenders. In my mind, they currently aren't. And then the others I've added, the Panthers and the Cardinals. I don't think either team is a Super Bowl contender right now. I think they would be with Aaron Rodgers. The teams I struggled with were the Falcons and the Giants. I put them on the no side. And these are the teams that I think Aaron Rodgers wouldn't make them into Super Bowl contenders. Jets, Bengals, Texans, Jaguars, Giants, Eagles, Lions, Falcons. But the two on which I was the closest are the Giants and the Falcons. And it's no coincidence that they're NFC teams because the AFC is so damn top-heavy. I don't care who the quarterback is of the Jets this year. They're not a Super Bowl contender. They're not ready yet from a personnel standpoint. The Bengals have a long way to go to be Super Bowl contenders. The Texans have the worst roster in the NFL right now. And the Jaguars have a long way to go as well. Not that the Jaguars would want Aaron Rodgers if the opportunity arose, or the Bengals for that matter, or the Jets for that matter. Again, there aren't many teams that would want him right now. I think the Broncos are the clear leader right now. The Raiders, as I said, could get into it. And the other side of it, too, and I'm glad I thought of this. Rodgers has to want to go to the team that would trade for him. And some of you will say in response to that, but he doesn't have a no-trade clause. Well, for a starting quarterback, a no-trade clause is meaningless because, think about this. If you're the general manager of a team and you are trading for a quarterback, a guy that you want to come in and set the tone for the organization, show up, stay late, hold teammates accountable, check every box, and then some. Be the face of the team, at least from the locker room standpoint. If he doesn't want to be there, do you really want him? I think a key ingredient to making it work, especially at this stage of the year, is to have full buy-in from the quarterback. So, hey, the Dolphins become Super Bowl contenders with Aaron Rodgers. But if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to live and play in Miami this year, if he doesn't want to be on the Dolphins this year, you're not going to make that trade because he don't want to be there. He may not show up. Remember when Richard Seymour was traded from the Patriots to the Raiders and it took a few days for him to recognize, oh, God, I've been traded from one of the best teams in the NFL to one of the worst. And at the time, the Raiders were one of the worst. It took him a while to realize, I just better go. Now, it's easier to do that with a non-quarterback. A quarterback can say, fine, I'll show up, but don't expect me to do all the stuff that a quarterback who's all in would do. And I think it's one of the reasons why the Bears didn't go after Carson Wentz. Remember they were linked to Carson Wentz? Wentz didn't want to go there. Wentz doesn't have a no-trade clause. Doesn't matter. If Wentz doesn't want to be in Chicago, the Bears aren't going to waste their time trading for him. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. If he gets traded this year, I think it's the Broncos, maybe the Raiders. After this year, there will be more teams at the table. The question is, which teams would Aaron Rodgers be willing to play for? The problem is, think about it. The West Coast teams, that's where he wants to go. Well, the Rams have Matthew Stafford, and they gave up a lot to get him. They're not going to give up on him after 1 year. The 49ers, who the hell knows what they're going to do? Because they wanted Aaron Rodgers, and they're so desperate to atone for their failure to draft Patrick Mahomes and their failure to take Tom Brady up on his interest in the team that maybe they would do something crazy, like throw everyone overboard and go get Aaron Rodgers. Trey Lance for Aaron Rodgers straight up. Maybe that would happen. Who knows? The Raiders and the Broncos, I think, would still be the two teams to watch next year. But maybe the possibility of having more teams at the table could leverage one of those teams to give up more. And, of course, from Rodgers' perspective, he doesn't want the team he's going to give up too much because he's got to go play for that team. You don't want the team to be gutted. You don't want the team's draft picks for the next several years to all be gone as part of the transaction that brought you there. So, interesting dynamics, to say the least, and we'll find out in a couple of weeks whether he shows up. But the bottom line is, I think if he shows up, that gives him a better chance to get out this year instead of next year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.